Alright, here we are, after party 13, where we talk about sessions 39, 40, and 41, titled 39 is Over Troubled Water, 40, Damnable Actions, and 41, A Watched Theft Never Boils. Great title, by the way, Leland.
Thank you.
Lucky after party 13.
Yeah, so how do you want to get into this set of three?
We've come here today to remember the life of our dearest friend Thuft.
I really don't want Emily to cry again.
Well, I did prepare a little something for the occasion.
Aw.
You or Brendel, you both sound the same.
Well, that's true. Maybe then, no, this is Brendel. Yeah, okay, this is Brendel. He's the first time around for Brendel didn't go over so well with Gozy, so maybe this one will be a little better for Brendel. Oh, Thufty boy, the doggy's barking. From cave to cave and down the mountainside. Your time is gone. Shiny's no longer shining. Oh, Thufty boy, how we love you so.
Keep going! Keep going!
Very well done.
That was beautiful.
I even had a little tear in my eye.
Poor
Good
Thuft.
job, Brendel.
Poor Thuft.
Is it easier to sing if you say it's Brendel singing, so you're like, that's Brendel's voice. Don't criticize me.
That's Brendel. Nothing.
I think you sounded lovely.
Brendel has a great voice.
Move over, Matt Mercer.
I am happy to say now that you're the second DM that's made Emily cry during an RP game, or a role-playing game, so I don't feel so bad now.
Yeah.
Good job, Leland.
That was you the first time around, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, it was the most emotional game I think we've played, episode 41. So 41 episodes in before there was any real deep emotion.
I think there's been anger and frustration.
Oh,
yeah,
I have
but we're
had
used to
plenty
that.
of emotion. Okay. Leland cut out so much of me trying to figure out how to cleave at the damnable actions fight, okay? Like, there's lots of emotion.
I was wondering if you wanted to bring that up.
That's all I want to say is thank you for making me look better than I was, and I still sounded like a little girl throwing a temper tantrum.
That about sums it up.
I said it. So
I like the
it's
comment. I don't know whether it was me or Emily, or maybe both of us are like, well, you did kill the guy.
Yeah.
like, that's not
the
enough.
funniest thing.
So
Oh, boy. All right, so you want to start diving into
Yeah, I
this?
guess we'll start at the beginning.
Yeah, so 39, I think we were still in Port Randus. We started out the morning picking up some weapons and things, and then headed off to follow the river.
Falsey discovered he got a new spell.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so in my spell book, there is now Disguise Self. So, I didn't use it in any of these episodes, but I think it's going to be fun. I kind of like... It's fun doing damage, but I also like just being creative with stuff, like, messing around with Mage Hand or whatever. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how I can use that.
And I think you guys had some discussions on copying things into spell books and anything like that you guys want to go over, or you think you went over it pretty well in the episodes?
I think Leland explained it pretty well.
That's something we don't do in our other game, which I thought was pretty neat to be able to add that in. It gives money more value and, gives you something valuable to do. So,
Yeah.
I think we a lot of people hand wave a lot of things like weight allowance and, spell components and things like that. But I think the further you get into a campaign and the more familiar you get with the rules, you can start adding some of those things in to add a little bit more depth to your game. I don't think weight allowance can be a real pain, but things like spell components could add a reason for you to have to go get something else to be able to cast that spell. I think that might add some side quests to your campaign if you wanted to do something unique.
Yeah, well, what, that material stuff, I think if you were so inclined, you could really make 5e way more reflective of how older editions used to be for spellcasters. When spellcasters used to literally choose their slots for the specific spell they wanted to prepare and be able to cast that following day. You could do this, the exact same thing with materials, really, right? You make sure when you go out or, where you can pick up the specific materials for the spells that you will want to cast, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, in 5e, the whole spell slot system is very forgiving, I think, for many of the classes.
Yeah. Well, they do things like component pouches and things like that, but I think what would make it interesting is even if you have components that don't, disappear after you use them and you can use them multiple times, if that spell pouch, and just like your spell book, is so important to you, you fall into the water and those things get washed away.
Right.
Suddenly, you become essentially more useless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the perceived or real constant threat of losing my spell book adds some tension for me when I'm playing. I do think about it sometimes when I'm about to do this or that, or,
Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like it took 39 episodes for you to think about it.
Well, I know. What happens is I keep forgetting to buy stuff to replace it. But
Yeah. Well, honestly, I don't know what percentage of the campaign have you guys really spent in cities? Really not that many. Not very many sessions as far as that goes.
Well, originally this kind of came out of you giving me the ability to make spell scrolls is what kind of led to this, I think. What kind of brought up the subject of me copying my spell book, or maybe we had talked about it before, but
right.
And I forgot to do that for forever as well. But that's kind of a neat thing I can use that in a couple different ways. We've talked about that before, but it's nice. It's a nice little bit of flavor for Falzarin to be able to craft spell scrolls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it adds a little bit of something for what you do when you're camping. Hey, you're going to stay up and do some of this, and they could also go as far as saying, weapons can be damaged and armor can be damaged. But I think you can weigh down your sessions pretty easily by making them, have to go back to the armor to get your weapons fixed, or the damage is not quite as much. Or
Right.
I think you just got to find the right balance.
Yeah, well, and I also think that can really play into the style of your campaign as well, where some campaigns will have actual downtime between what the players are doing, right? Whereas ours doesn't. It just literally doesn't. You guys don't spend a couple days in any given city to do various activities, right? I guess because of the podcast, maybe we have this mentality that we just push kind of thing. I'm not sure if you guys feel that way as players. I guess I kind of feel that way DMing a little bit, but I don't run my campaigns with downtime really anyways, so.
Yeah, I think the only thing would be is if you wanted to have the characters get to know each other for over a longer period of time, we've really been together for 3 weeks-ish in the actual play.
Right.
But if, there's a whole thing in I think it's in the DM's guide, or maybe I think it's in the DM's guide, where it tells you all about downtime and what you do. You could go get a job, you could go do things in between adventures,
right.
What you could spend your money on and things like that. I think if somebody wanted to do that in their campaign and say, you've known each other for a couple of years now because over this period of time you've done these things on your off time together.
Right.
And you sort of hand wave all that stuff, but it gives you a deeper, you know each other a lot more.
Right.
I think in one of our sessions, I think we even sort of mention it, about how little we really know each other.
Yeah, actually, that's been coming up quite a bit lately.
Don't you think if our crew had downtime, like let's say in Port Randus or whatever, if we had downtime, we wouldn't be spending it together? And translating that to podcast means solo session, like all this different stuff.
No, I don't think you'd have to do solo sessions. And I'm not saying to do this.
I don't think we would hang out with each other, though.
We wouldn't. Like, I would wander off. I was on the boat. I met Brendel. You were at the place looking for a job. Like, we're all kind of different. Like, even in the little downtime we have, we wouldn't be choosing to do it together.
Well, I think what that does from a character perspective is it gives you a chance to get away from each other. Unlike if a whole bunch of people suddenly got together and they all had to live in this, cabin for 3 weeks. By the end of it, you'd want to kill each other, right? Especially people that don't know each other. And that's where we are in our campaign. We're all very much annoyed with each other all the time because we've been thrown together.
Cabin fever is setting in, absolutely.
I mean, we can't even decide on what we want to do. And I think it's great from a podcast perspective, the arguments we get in about, to go left or right. But yeah, I think that's the downside to that is, of course, I don't think we're developing a friendship between our characters as much as we are a tolerance for each other.
Yeah, well,
Maybe.
I mean, predominantly, you guys, your characters are quite antagonistic, really. So I don't even
Gozer? No.
I don't think that that they would get if you took Bryn and put her into another party of 4. I think it could potentially be quite similar for Bryn, even if those other 3 are more aligned the lines of the way Falzer and things. I just think same with Shaft and especially Gozer, obviously. I just think that. Well, I mean, maybe not so much for Gozer. I shouldn't write her off quite like that. Maybe if put into a party of Falzerans for, with, lack of better example, just using Falzeran for Falzeran's sake, like they would be much more accommodating to Gozer. Maybe Gozer would actually flourish much more in a party like that. What do you think, Emily?
She would definitely try to have them under her control a lot more.
Right.
And become more of a leader figure, telling them what to do. Definitely. Instead of, like, right now she doesn't look to Shaft to what to do, but she's not going to be making any decisions herself because she knows Shaft and Bryn would override her anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Ever since Falzarin came back from Izzy, he seems to throw his opinions in there a little bit more. So it's not the Shaft and Bryn argue about what to do. It's the Shaft and Bryn and now Falzarin, who's, too powerful for his britches. Yeah. So there's like a whole skew of opinions.
Is it that he's too powerful, or is he...
You have some self-confidence you didn't used to have.
Agreed.
Afraid of the consequences if he doesn't?
It could be Bill getting used to role-playing, but it could be Falzarin having some self-confidence.
Yeah, I think Falsey's walking around with some BDE now, coming back from his ass.
Definitely is.
I agree. Because you're sort of pushing back on things that at least what Shaft is saying to you.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to go into this cave myself. I'm going to go, you're just like, it wasn't the same as when you're like, I'm going to go walk over to this ogre by myself. It wasn't the same type of initiative.
Let's remember that I thought that was a friendly ogre.
There's a little pep in your step. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, wizards, and this is maybe less role-playing and more Bill, but wizards definitely get more powerful once they're getting up to the 4, 5, 6 area of levels, right? So...
Right. And I think that's, like, I think we mentioned it before, I think that's part of the fun of ripping on you when you don't have a lot of power, because then you'll be able to come back and show your power later.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think Shaft is very frustrated right now because I think he's used to dealing with the underhanded, shady guys to go get a job done. Figure out what you need to do, never really trust anybody, and go get done what you need to get done, and just assume that everybody's going to stab you in the back because that's the world he's from. And I think he's very frustrated dealing with all of you because you're not that way. If you look at it from that viewpoint, you can sort of see how he's not very trusting, but trying to figure it out.
He's been thrust into a situation where he kind of has to function as a part of a group that sort of, I mean, maybe don't trust each other, but there has to be a little bit of trust and a little bit of watching out for each other in order for a group of 4 to effectively work together. That's probably not at all what Shaft is used to.
He can't do it alone, but he doesn't particularly know why you don't want to do it the way he wants to do it, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
When it really comes down to us arguing what to do, though, you do eventually, Shaft eventually is like, whatever, let's just go, because he's sick of it. You do that often because we drag it out so long.
Well, I think that's a little John. And Shaft in general is a means to an end, right? If we have to go do this thing to be able to get back on course, let's go do the thing and get it done. I think in a later episode, we do something. I convinced Falzarin to do something to try nothing more than to just get it over with and go.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you guys will follow that later on the episode. But yeah, I think you can see that a lot. I think Bryn's changed significantly from when we first met her in episode 1. Do you feel that you have?
Yeah, I think so. But like, not necessarily softer. How do you think Bryn's changed?
Yeah, changed not in a good way.
Yeah.
Not for the good of humanity way.
She's just a big weenie now.
I do throw temper tantrums occasionally. And that might not be Bryn. That
We're talking
might
about
be
role-playing here.
Me. Yeah.
Bryn has shown some interest, and I don't know, this probably isn't anything stemming from like wanting to be friends or get to know each other better, but you've been grilling Falzarin a little bit, or Bryn has been really grilling Falzarin a little bit about his backstory, where he's come from, why Isabella is so interested in him.
Well, I want to
think she's doing
know
that?
why these side jobs all of a sudden are more important than the main job. And Bryn is still at a major point of frustration at this part of the story. Like, why are we doing what we're doing? But she would be less frustrated if that cave is full of treasure. So she's in for the ride, right?
I also
Sure.
think Bryn sees, like, Falzarin's kind of a tangled mess, and she wants to pick at him and straighten him out and get it figured out. It's like, it's a puzzle she needs to solve him.
He does seem like a puzzle, for sure. I don't know if that's too Bryn or that's just the way I'm playing it, too. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. It kind of, like, became apparent to her and me that, like, as we've been playing, we literally have asked him 0 questions. Because he's just, like, the good, nice, dependable guy that will have our back no matter what. And we kind of know that, abuse that, make fun of that, right?
Take advantage of him.
Yeah. We don't need to learn more about him to learn his weaknesses. We know them without
Right.
knowing much about him.
But you don't know all of my strengths.
That's true.
Yeah, so when I was creating Falzarin, I intentionally put some stuff into his backstory that, I didn't know whether it would work into the campaign necessarily or not, but I've been enjoying keeping it secret and looking for opportunities for it to come out and to intrigue the other party members that I'm with. So that's been fun for me.
Yeah, I think Shaft is more just wanting to get this done and not really concerned too much about whether you're going down any kind of good path or a dark path or whatever. You're just I'm almost looking at it like this is the guy that just wants to be on his own to get this thing done and be done with all of you. But in the process of going through this, you develop relationships, right? We're just having a hell of a time getting to that develop relationships part.
Yeah, listening back to how I played Bryn when Thuff died, cringed a bit.
I think it's great.
I
will know. I'd like to note Leland took all my laughs out.
Yes.
There was a lot of
Yeah.
laughing on Johnson.
There was a little bit on my end as well, but it was more like mine were like an incredulous, like, I can't believe this happened. Like, almost a nervous laugh
Yeah.
that I took out because I thought I kind of broke the.
Your
the
nervous
mood of
laugh
it.
was definitely like when you realized he was gonna die, like right after you
Yeah.
rolled the dice, you could hear it. You could just hear.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no,
Yeah.
oh no.
My laugh was, this is awesome because I was always hoping for somebody to die in the episode to show that this is not something you just go through.
Yeah.
Right? There's a risk there, and Leland did not pull back and go, hey, there's a way you can heal him, or especially going in the boils and the description of it, and there was no coming back from it. I thought that was
gross.
It was
thought it was
pretty
awesome.
descriptive.
No, I was really excited and laughing because I was so happy.
What Bill and I literally said tonight was like, we were talking about it. We were like, there is a risk of dying, and that's what makes it fun and interesting, and the death gives the life more meaning, which is super cheesy, but true.
Absolutely. I agree.
She's like, oh,
I think
man,
Mark
this could
Twain said
happen.
that one.
Yeah.
Well,
Mother Teresa?
Every
Good job, Sam.
every quote ever.
Nobody is safe.
exactly.
Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'm really glad that we got to experience a bit of the impact and the reality that there is possibility of death in this campaign, and it wasn't any of us. As much as
Wasn't you.
it was sad to see Thuff
Brendel's
go.
next.
I was gonna say, watch out, Brendel.
No.
Brendel's
Well, I mean,
definitely.
if you take a step back too and look and really look at the big picture of this situation to it, it kind of would seem even more incredulous had you all come out unscathed. I mean, you are following this river with this goo that, because of your bunny test, you see can reanimate the dead. And
The bunny
you
test is patent pending, by the way.
and you come up against this crazy structure of a dam and fight these bloated masses that God knows where they really came from. It's just like forces that clearly, I mean, currently you have no idea what the fuck is going on, right?
Right.
Which also means you don't really, as characters, have an understanding possibly of the danger levels as well, right? I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
you all know that anywhere you go and anything you guys are currently doing is of course dangerous, but to what extent, with the lack of knowledge that you're currently operating with, you could be literally just be walking into your deaths, right?
Well, I mean, you can look at that black stuff as reanimating the dead, and it's flowing all over the damn place.
Right.
I mean, just think of the power that's involved with just that alone.
Right.
We could walk into a horde of reanimated bunnies.
Yeah. You know what bunnies do.
To Elena's point of Bryn being frustrated about, they have the tower job. Why is all these branching things so enticing, it seems, to the party? But like, if you guys had went and tried to tackle that tower job immediately after getting it, you guys would all most likely be dead. I mean, you would, again, that zero information. Like, look at all the info that you've gleaned so far about it too, right? I think you guys are well more equipped for that job than you ever have been, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, the stuff that we've recorded since the battle at the dam, like, there is so much more information that we're now running on and able to operate with, where it does make the tower job, like, you realize how big of a thing it is. And, like we don't know the danger that we're walking into, for sure, or wouldn't have.
And I think falls are in it. Maybe it's Bill, but that's what Falzarin is trying to sell you guys, is that we have no assurity that we're going to survive this tower job if we go as is right now as a party with our current resources and abilities. So let's see if I can get us more help, basically.
Bryn better get some magical items, is all I gotta say. I was promised magical items. Treasure.
So let's
Sound like Falzarin.
let's talk about. I do have one burning question. The dam. So the dam's holding back the water. You climb up onto the dam, which there was a rope there, right? Somebody threw a grappling hook up, essentially, and they climbed up. When you get to the top of the dam, there's a key that you could turn something to obviously open up so the water would flow. I was very frustrated to think, if you were up there and you opened that up and the water would go down on one side and up on the other and level it all out, how the hell do you get out? How do you get off the dam? You can't get on a boat because the water's down now. There's no doors anywhere. So I kept trying to look for secret doors or something. I'm sure there's something, or if there's not, I just couldn't figure it out. So I got very frustrated trying to go, how in the hell do those people, whoever built this thing, how do they get up there to open and close
The
the
only
dam?
thing I can think of is that keyhole opens up some thing in the dam that you then like can climb down into it, and then it seals back up, and then you're like in the walls of the, like just so weird.
That's
could
where
be
the
a
treasure
portal.
is.
Yeah, we missed it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? We don't have any idea where it is, and there's a big, basically backed up lake full of this stuff for miles. It's basically dammed up a whole valley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we have no idea. Well, we know it's not in the other mountains.
I was going to say, we do know it's coming into the valley clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very interested in this whole black liquid goo ordeal. And that's an interesting thought that you said, John. The fact that this substance is powerful enough in just a small amount of it to reanimate something that's dead. And then when you take a step back and think about just how much of this stuff has been created, like, that's a lot of power going into creating all of that substance.
Yeah, and it's flowing down for anybody to use, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we just happened to, I wanted to see if it was going to burn the bunny up or what was going to happen, and I think if we would have just caught a bunny and stuck it in, we wouldn't have got the information we needed. Luckily, we killed it first.
You've tested one half of that equation now, right? And it did work out where you were at least able to compare the state of the wounds from the bunny and the drowned. So yeah,
right.
You're right. Comparing those two definitely gave you the information.
Exactly. I think we knew that it seems like they were attacked by something. At least they had wounds.
And that was another thing. We never even cared that 3 adventurers that should have been fairly strong together were killed by something.
Well, I remember thinking, if they were killed, what got them? Exactly.
Yeah.
We're like, let's go in this cave.
Because they very clearly made it to the top of the dam as they came tumbling over it, right?
Yeah.
Where did they go from the top of that dam?
Right.
What did they do when they got up there?
Yeah, I was feeling very, very wary of going any farther once we ran into that situation.
We know they walked through the little creek of water.
Or they fell in the water
presumably.
behind the dam. They could have
Maybe
fallen
they fell,
in.
maybe they swam. Yeah, I don't know.
But they had wounds, right?
Yeah.
I
So
think-
maybe they
I think they were
jumped in the
attacked.
dam and there was something in that water and that built up water back in there that attacked them.
Right. Yeah.
So it's probably a
wanna
good thing
know.
we didn't get a boat and go in there.
Yeah.
I did talk to Mike at work, and he did ask, what did Brindle do during that battle? And did Brindle attack, or did he just sort of hang back?
He missed with the firebolt.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah.
Brendel is so much more useless than Falzarin.
Look, he's an alchemist, okay?
Useless.
The one
What do you
time
want
you
from
get
an
him to
alchemist?
Explosion.
the
is
one
what I
time you
want.
get him to alchemize is against a disease that no one's had fucking heard of before.
Alchemize? Is that?
Alchemize. Yeah.
That's the verb.
It's a word.
That is the
Okay.
verb
Okay.
of alchemist.
No,
boy.
I think it's going to be really interesting having an alchemist. Because, I mean, what's one of the main things we want to buy from shops is potions, right? So it'd be
Right.
cool to see what he can craft up. And also, listener,
Till he dies.
if you want to send in some potion suggestions, get creative, make something fun and interesting, stupid maybe, goofy, dangerous, that might really give us a big boost, but also give us an Achilles heel when we use it, that'd be a great opportunity.
Now that the Lelanders have voted that we're just going to have
we are not
unlimited
calling
amount.
No, stop.
Unlimited
no,
amount
of that. No.
Unlimited amount of potions at stores, but not maximum. Thanks, by the way. Now we have a guy that
Cleveland,
can
did you
create
just vote
them,
twice on
so
that?
it's sort of useless.
I don't think I actually voted. I'm not sure if I did.
I voted against the maximizing.
Well, look, while I was certainly, well, actually, in a discussion we had on Discord, I was against it. But that is what the vote was. So yes, if Falzern wants to drop 500 gold on 10 potions, he will be able to. Especially at Magic, as their inventory
Of course.
well known throughout Aspara.
Potions.
But that doesn't exclude the possibility of purchasing a binder for an additional fee that could enhance said potions.
What?
That may be limited in stock.
Oh my
What
god!
on earth is a binder?
Wonderful.
Look, you
That's
guys
what I
always
put my
bitch
Pokemon
about
cards
not
in.
having things to spend gold on. I'm just trying to give you things to spend
I
gold
don't
on.
have
Here's the
gold to
thing.
spend.
Yeah,
We-
we need gold
I'm
to
on a
spend it.
treasure hunt
Come
right
on,
now.
man.
We don't have a cleric, which, that's our fault. Not saying anything. But we don't have a cleric, so this is one of those things in 5e where you could go spend 50 gold and essentially get almost no hit points from a
Right.
potion of healing.
You're right.
Right? So it seems sort of unfair. I don't want to say unfair. That's a weird way, but it seems like it's very risky to spend 50 gold on a potion and be able to get almost nothing out of it. So my argument was, since we don't have a cleric, maybe make potions more rare, but make them valuable for us
Right.
to use.
Make them worth
More
the
Maybe a
gold.
listener can submit some potions of better healing here.
Well, I
Yeah,
put it to
It's
a
what it
vote.
is. It's what it is.
I didn't even know that it was out there.
Notice how I said listeners, not Lelanders.
I mean, it's right there in the name. They're incorrigibles.
Yeah, incorrigibles.
That's true.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I mean, you can't vote that way and then turn around immediately and go, you're all a bunch of doofuses for not having a cleric, right? Unless,
Yeah, that's true. You asshole Lelanders.
that's right. You give up your right to complain about our stupidity of not having a cleric.
I also though part of that discussion was some other house rules, and it hasn't come up in our play since we had that discussion, but about the improved criticals. I think we will definitely do the improved criticals. I really like that house rule.
Can you remind me of that house rule? I don't remember what
So
we're talking
so like with rolling for a potion of healing, if you score a critical hit, you could whiff on that damage as well. So the rule is basically you only roll you max what you would roll on a normal hit. So all your die is maxed. Then you roll again, and then you combine the two numbers. So you're always guaranteed at least like especially with Bryn, like with your sneak attack.
Right.
If you critical hit with a sneak attack, it would be max D8 plus 3d6. Then you would roll all those and add it to that total.
Plus your ability modifier.
So instead of rolling 6d6, I'm rolling 3d6, and then other three are already maxed out.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But
Okay.
that, of course, works both ways.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
we could extend it to critical fails are maxed.
So you're saying the monsters would have guaranteed if they critical hit?
If
Sure.
an enemy critical hits, they would same rule would
screw
apply
that.
to them.
Okay, I don't know.
Well,
Well, statistically, there are more of you than me.
Usually.
Yeah, that's true.
no, I think it's more fair. I mean, that makes a critical really seem like a critical.
I definitely agree.
Because you could hit with a crit and then
Roll a
do
bunch of
very
ones.
little damage.
Yeah.
And you guys,
Exactly.
you have Shaft has whiffed a few times on critical hits. Actually,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I have as
Yeah.
well. Falzern's.
also, I mean, remember though, like Elena, that actually does give Bryn more of an edge. Few times will you be rolling damage without sneak attack, right?
Right.
So you're at already an XD6 advantage over another character's max, right? So
if I could just get all my 20s into the dice tray, that would be great. Speaking of 20s, Barry is a useless badger. Thanks for
useless.
thanks for
But that snarl, though. Come on.
That snarl.
It was worth it. Oh, I'm so glad we have that recorded. It was so good.
He already sang this episode. I don't know if we'll get him to snarl.
That's all right. I can go back and replay it over and over and over.
It's going to be Bill's ringtone.
Oh, yes.
His phone's going to be like...
that's terrible.
If anyone can make that into a ringtone for me, because I'm technologically inept, I'd be so grateful.
Well, and in that episode, Emily was like, I think Elena should be rolling for Barry.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I if you would like to, I could certainly give you, just the quick stats on a giant badger. But like,
Sure.
I don't let Gozer roll for Thuff's attacks.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't have to give her the stats. You can just have her roll, and then she tells you what it is, and then you tell her if she hit.
Emily likes to fudge her numbers, so she wants to give me the opportunity to fudge Barry's numbers.
Okay, wait.
Oh, I see.
Emily very rarely fudges her numbers.
Very rarely, though, means that you have. I've never fudged a number to this point.
Well,
You're
clearly,
encouraging me to do so.
neither have I. The little
Yeah,
gravestone
that's true.
marking Thuff's
Oh.
grave is any indication.
We did put a stone up.
I just rip on you only
unmarked.
because you've admitted to doing it. That's all. None of us have admitted to doing it. You have, so I just rip on you.
Yeah, the main difference between Emily and us is she's the one who's admitted to it.
I will say that since we're both rolling right next to each other, we haven't.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you're trying to admit to it right now.
No, I don't think I have.
All right.
I like
I
to
don't
let
think
it
I have.
fall the way it does.
Isn't that the way Shaft hangs?
I've got lucky, so I've really got sort of an out.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
That is very handy.
So, yeah.
Well,
For a one,
the next
anyway.
goblin you guys find, I'll give Lucky as well.
That would be great. A very lucky goblin.
Is he going to be from the UK?
He's gonna be catching lucky charms.
Leprechaun.
Oh, okay.
Righto, King.
Oh boy.
Lucky goblin.
It's a leprechaun, honey.
So I think we sort of bounced around between
Same,
all
same.
three episodes, but a lot of this was just sort of tracking, and it was a one battle, and then the death, of course, which was really the and I'll say I've been waiting for this episode to drop for 2 or 3 weeks now,
Yeah.
and I want to commend everybody for not saying anything.
Not
Well,
on
yeah,
social
but
media.
literally a day
People
after
guessed.
the episode's released, you guys are twittering back and forth with Super McDad and putting up spoilers
Somebody
all
said-
over the place. Nobody
Well, that
specifically
happened.
said that Thuff was dead.
No one
But-
confirmed
No.
it.
All of
Yeah.
our tweets confirmed it. I
I
will
think
just
it
say,
went
like,
something like
a
What
day
were our
after the
tweets
episode
saying?
released.
Like
I mean,
RPG is real or something, or I don't know. What were we saying?
I don't
remember.
somebody said,
trying
"Well,
to
that
think.
happened," and then I think Super McDad said, "Did Thuff die?"
right.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, when it happened, yeah.
Which one of us
Recorded
was at
it.
fault? Is the
I believe that was Leland.
oh snap.
It
I'm
was.
gonna have to go
It was.
back and look, but
But
that's
fucking
hilarious.
anything could happen. He just guessed Thuff because Thuff was the best.
Right.
It's kind of like that game Guess Who? Like you get all the little things flipped up and you sit across from your friend or whatever, and you don't even ask like if they're a man or woman. You just go, "Are they Charles?" and you guess it like right on the first guess. They think you're cheating.
Does he have tons of boils covering his entire body that are about to burst?
You have a bubbling pile of pus and flesh.
I will say what really set John off was when Thuff was clutching the pearl. I couldn't keep recording with John, just looking at John's webcam. I just leaned way back in his chair, just laughing to the point where barely any sound was coming out.
And that's the part where Emily started crying.
Oh yeah, that's what the emotion really when you put the last thing that he ever gave you. It was so dramatic. I loved it.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
That was good. Yeah.
That-
And that was
that added some
actually
weight.
very, very last second. That actually literally only came to me when Bryn was like, well, he's got his brooch, doesn't he? And I'm like,
really
oh,
want that
Yeah.
brooch.
of course
Oh my
he'd be
God.
clutching that pearl.
You're lucky you're still standing, Bryn.
I know. Like I said, I was pretty savage listening back. I realized that, but I was very happy you gave me the brooch.
I didn't give you that brooch. I threw
I
it.
know. I know. I
There's a
also,
difference.
I will say that, like, this is a terrible defense, but, like, we've never played Dungeons and Dragons, we've never role-played, and, like, how do I know people get buried with their weapons? Like, I'm thinking to myself, I wanted a slashing weapon so I could slash those wires. Like,
Well, yeah, Bryn probably wouldn't have known that anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
that was really a Gozer thing.
so, and I had never experienced death of someone where it wasn't, like, grab what you can and get out of there, like, in Bryn's past. So, I don't know. I think she kind of didn't know better and wasn't trying to be so savage as it came across.
So I did want to bring one thing up. When Shaft went over and looked at Gozer's wounds,
Yeah.
right? Because Thuff just boiled up and died, right? He was checking to see if we needed to put her down.
Right.
And he asked the
Oh.
question, "Are you okay?" And she backhanded him.
Yeah.
And so Shaft immediately, I clarified it and said, do I know she's distraught or do I know I was thinking if she's going mad,
Yeah, you gotta
from his
you gotta take her
perspective,
down.
I'm going to
Absolutely.
kill her.
100%.
Oh my god.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
entirely makes sense.
If I didn't make that save, or when I did the insight
Yeah.
check, I was going to go full bore on her. 3 attacks, the whole 9 yards. And
I
it
think I would have stepped in, and I don't know why, but that's crazy.
Sure, but somebody would have
all be
took
killing
a
each
pokey
other.
pokey for sure.
Oh my god.
You think about everything that led up to that. I said they need to be 60 foot away. Da 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 da. I mean, you also got to think. I just saw one of my friends back in a town that was going mad through a disease, also.
Yeah, in Victor.
And I have no idea how this is
So
going to
all
play
that
out.
to say is, if you wouldn't have rolled right, Shaft,
I would have attacked
Shaft
her.
would be dead.
Because
I think Falzer
knows
and
how it would have
Bryn
played out, but-
would help defend Gozer.
I'm going to argue that I think I could take Gozer out.
I think that Bryn and Falzer would step in and help Gozer, though.
I have no idea what falls in. I guess.
Because you're a little heavy-handed just going straight to 3 attacks and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
I'd
You
re-
would step in.
I'd have to do some really quick thinking to decide whether I am thinking in the same lines as Shaft, that Gozer could be getting sick and becoming a threat as well. But
I would have yelled to you guys, she's going mad and we need to take her out.
yeah,
Because I did state that earlier. You guys know if things go bad here, we're going to have to kill them. And you both said yes.
right.
Yeah, but I don't think Bryn would have thought
But-
things were going bad.
But Thuff didn't really go mad, though. He just got really sick and then died.
Yeah.
It
I
exploded.
understand, but I think
And
from our
exploded.
perspective, the only this disease thing that was going on back in Victor, if you
Yeah.
remember right.
Yeah,
they
but
were
this is
all
totally
going
different.
mad
They
and-
didn't have boils.
Yeah.
They didn't just like dissolve into a pile of flesh.
Yep, it doesn't matter to me. It was some kind of disease that could affect me, and unfortunately, I think I'd kill him.
Yeah.
So, and I'll tell you what, if I maxed out, I can do 68 points of damage.
You
on,
wouldn't.
on 3 hits,
So can I.
and I would. So therefore, I mean, I
I've
think
never maxed out my damage. I should do that.
it would be interesting to see,
Do
what
people
would
do
happen.
that? Do they just like keep track of what their new max damage is and stuff like that? I should do
No.
that.
No, that's a John
I
thing.
just did it.
Okay.
I just did it to see what it was, just out of curiosity, because it was interesting to see how, with 3 attacks, and if you maxed out with Colossus Slayer and with
Well,
everything.
Colossus Slayer you can only apply once per
Only get
turn,
once.
right?
That's right.
But your
That's right.
Hunter's Mark you would get on every attack.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a plus a D6,
A D6
on 3
on 3
attacks.
attacks, so 18.
And then you get 1 D8 on 1 attack,
Right.
plus you get a D8 on 3 attacks.
26 plus another 24. Yeah.
And then I say if I crit,
And then
on
your
any of them,
modifiers.
dear God.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty
So, yeah, and I don't expect to do that.
Now
but,
he's going to give us harder monsters. Thanks, John.
good. Well, honestly, we could probably be a little more stringent with your hunter's mark, as it does require concentration. I'm sure there have been points where you haven't been making con checks to maintain concentrating on it.
Yeah, let's just stop talking about what damage I can do and
Let's sweep that under
focus
the rug.
more
Can't
back
wave that one.
on the situation. I think it was interesting how that played out.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to.
I didn't
Right.
really. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I didn't really think that was on the table. But I don't know. I think maybe I'm having trouble making a disconnect between me and Falzarin, but in my mind, like, there's a distinct difference between the two illnesses. One's an illness of the body that we saw with Thuft, and one's an illness of the mind where the body looks fine. So I don't think Falzarin would be convinced that Gozer's going mad.
I think you would look at it from a different perspective than Shaft.
Yeah.
For sure. I think Shaft would look at it as, hey, these boils and things are coming on somebody. They have a disease. Best thing to do is put it down.
Yeah, I'd certainly want to keep my distance, and I think we all were kind of keeping our distance in case it was contagious.
And that's a hard thing to do with role playing, right? Because I have in my mind the way I would want to think this is going, and you may not understand that.
Right.
Oh, I didn't understand where you're coming from. About, actually killing her. I, did not. It's interesting. I think I would have seen Gozer as, pretty... She can defend herself, but I think I would see her as someone that's sort of undeserving of an attack. I think that, like Bill said, it was totally different diseases in Bryn's mind, so...
I mean, what we just saw with Thuft scared the hell out of Shaft.
Yeah. Yeah, that was not a good death.
Nope.
Poor Thuft.
Poor Thuft.
Do we have questions and stuff?
There's one more thing. Leland said in the intro for, I think it was 41. Thuft's still useful.
Oh, yeah. That was just insult to injury.
Yeah. That hurt.
Mm-hmm. I liked the role-playing between you and John.
For the
For
intro.
40.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was spicy.
It was a little longer and a little spicier, but Emily talked me out of it.
Like,
It
your
was,
voice, Em, it was not Gozer.
No, that was not Gozer. I don't know how people talk like that in real life. It was kind of hard to do.
You're talking
I said, talk like Leland.
you're talking like Jessica Rabbit, you know?
Yeah.
No, that was
Yeah,
really
the problem was I was going to have him come back down, or have her go up to his room in the session.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we had already said in the session that you were going to meditate in my room. So I couldn't
Right.
do that. I had to cut all that out.
Oh, that's
so
funny.
I had it was a little longer. I was going to say, well, I was going to wake up in the morning and go, well, I'm not getting the benefits of a long rest tonight.
Oh, you had the one-liner ready.
Yeah, but I couldn't. use
Well,
it,
I
so.
appreciate the efforts of continuity for sure.
Okay, questions?
All right, let's dig into the questions. Yeah.
Let's start.
Who's
Shall we
got
start
them?
with one from Tim?
Yeah, let's do Tim's.
Tim
Yeah.
Vernig on Twitter.
Facebook.
Oh, it's Facebook. My bad. He asks why.
Why not?
So yeah, let's unpack that.
Like, I want to say before we really continue that I got blamed a lot for this. And
Yes, you did.
this was not my fault.
No, it
This was
wasn't.
in no way my fault.
No,
I
it
don't
wasn't
feel
your
like
fault.
we blamed you. It was
No,
just
no,
like,
not you, but-
the Lelanders.
Some select Lelanders called me out directly about it. And
Wait, if you're going to keep calling him that, then I'm going to say, yes, it was totally all your fault. You screwed Thuft over.
Sorry, I baited him with it.
this was not my fault, okay? I didn't fucking do a goddamn thing. You lot took Thuft to this dam. You lot were gonna let him. Shaft was gonna let him drink the fucking stuff for Pete's sake.
was dastardly.
Nothing to do with this. Session 40, jammable actions. Those actions are on you four and you four alone. I did
Also,
nothing.
Gozer said,
good
didn't you
with
at
that.
one point tell him not to drink a potion?
Yeah.
Yeah, at one point she was like, save it. Save your potion for later.
Yeah, I didn't want her to waste her health potion on theft.
Yeah, save your potion. We're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mostly just like opportunities to tease you, so I'm happy to get on board with that and put the blame on you.
Well, believe me, I did not want to see Thuff die any more than anyone else.
I
For the
believe
first
you.
while, when we were the only 5 people in the world that knew Thuff was dead, right? No one blamed Leland. We all were pretty sad.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, no. When he went, oh, no.
But then giggled nervously.
Yeah, did you cut your giggles out too?
Well, at first, it was like, oh fuck, he failed his con save. What happens now? And I'm like looking, I'm like, oh, he takes 4d8 damage. Oh no.
That's
Yeah, now I'll say,
a lot.
Mike told me when he was listening to it, and as soon as you rolled, he goes, oh, he's dead. I mean,
Yeah.
so it wasn't a surprise. Everybody, it was a surprise, but yeah, it was expected. He only had like 2 hit points anyway, right?
He was at his max of like 10 or 11, or I think it was 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, after the con drain.
Yeah, that's
It
a
was
nasty
close.
Nasty disease.
disease
Yeah.
or curse or whatever. Have you told us what the name of that is?
It's not chlamydia. We found that out.
No, it's Blue Rot. It's right out of Ghost of Saltmarsh.
Blue rot. Yeah.
The blue rot.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
So, although why was a good question, do we have any more like specific questions?
We have a
Oh,
comment.
by the way, good question, Tim. I
Yeah.
appreciate your question.
Yeah, thanks,
Hopefully,
Tim.
it was aimed at the theft thing. I mean, we took it that way.
Well,
be
if you
why
saw
was
the
Barry
GIF
so
that he
bad.
posted, I think that's yeah. The GIF asking why is like a monkey type creature thing.
Okay. Good description.
Anyway, Riley J says, definitely want to say that in the previous few episodes, Emily was given the opportunity to roll a check with the group and decided that she wouldn't likely be paying attention and wouldn't roll. I think that's super cool and is a sign of a great role player. I give you
Yeah.
inspiration for that, and he outranks Leland, so it's cool.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to
So
say
Gozer's
you don't
got
get
some inspo.
inspiration because that just gives Leland more inspiration. So, no.
Well, not yet.
Apparently,
but we're
Riley
getting
doesn't
there.
outrank John.
That's right, Riley.
I like Riley.
See, this is the first time we played with people. I would think maybe other people do that, but maybe not. I think it's cool.
No, I think it's great. I think that's like I said, I think that's good role playing too.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not going to pay attention to this, and even though everybody else going, why not?
Or if it's like, everyone can roll a medicine check, it's like, well, what if Bryn wouldn't care? Or, yeah, what if Shaft wouldn't care? Just don't roll one.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been not caring about stuff for this whole campaign. What else we got?
Well, I believe Super McDad posited something along the lines of, how can we continue to move forward after this, or something. What did he say? It's like, how can we go
Yes.
on after this?
And I said, well, if Gozer can, then you can too.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point.
Although Gozer's in a bit of a shambles at the moment.
Yeah.
I guess when I posted Bren going back and digging up the grave, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. She wouldn't.
Looting the grave.
Yeah, no. I got a cutlass now. I'm alright. I guess I had my cutlass at the time, didn't I? Wow. I'm
We have
done.
a few questions from Jessica. I think these are from Instagram. The obvious question she says is, "How dare you?" And then she says, followed
She
by,
says,
"Which one of you
how
is?"
fucking dare you?
That's right.
That's right. I didn't think. I was wondering how Bill was going to say
I
that.
assume that is directed at me. Again,
Well,
I will
we know it
reiterate, Jessica, I did not do this.
And she says, "Which one of you is multiclassing as a cleric? Because we clearly need one."
If Brendel had made a better potion.
Yeah.
He broke the
Potion of
fever.
cleric.
And then she just had a comment that she said, in all seriousness, she wanted to say that we did some awesome role playing over that whole scene, especially on Emily and Gozer's part. I agree. That was great.
Good stuff. Very emotional. I like how you teared up and cried and stuff. Right at the right moment. I've seen it before, but you guys seem shocked.
It was starting to get me going a little bit there. It was tough to keep my composure.
Yeah, it was.
That was a sad finishing out the rest of that play session, honestly.
Very
And then for like
sad.
2 days after, I'm like, oh, this
We were all
sucks.
pretty bummed. Like, yeah.
I kind of had a feeling it was coming eventually, just a matter of time.
We
but
just were using him as a...
that didn't
Yeah.
necessarily make it any easier.
I thought I could save him, though. Any situation we got into, I thought I'd be able to
He'll
save
find
him.
the traps for us, but then we'll
Yeah.
save him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to
Save him
die
from
when he
that.
fell in that trap.
I think it's great. Can't wait till Brendel dies.
Brendel is not dying.
Brendel's definitely dying. Hate to break it to you.
I can't wait till Bryd kills Brendel.
How many sessions with stuff with us?
Definitely
We got a countdown timer on Brendel.
Oh.
Okay.
There you go.
I think
Yeah.
you guys picked up Thuft in session 18, I believe.
Yeah, I remember when he first tried to kill us.
Yeah.
Ah,
Back when he was bigger and stronger, and then Leland, like, downed him.
Yeah, he
got
was
nerfed
like
a
the
little
boss
bit.
goblin
he
and
did,
of all that.
yeah,
He was the
did
big
get
one.
nerfed a little bit. But I brought him back up when he leveled up with you guys at 5. I brought him back up.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't enough.
So there's another question. After Thuft's horrible demise, how's Gozer feeling about her plans to go back to Thuft's cave eventually?
So I have to be careful how I answer this because you guys didn't know about my plans to go
Yes.
back to the cave.
Yes, you do.
We were all thinking we'd go back and get all that treasure he was talking about, so...
I figured eventually you wanted to go back and be king anyway.
Yeah. There were plans made.
I figured.
Those plans have obviously bursted.
Oh, like during your solo, you guys actually talked about it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We did kind of assume that, but we didn't hear the solo.
Those plans
Bust.
postulated
Burst.
and popped
Ew.
all over the ground.
You're gonna make her cry again.
Jesus.
I had my suspicions about Thuft and Gozer scheming.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Gozer's once again adrift with no real plans. She could still go back to the mountain. She could convince you guys to go back to the mountain with her, but it's not the same. So
I mean, she could become friends with Falzarin.
Really?
He's a nice guy.
would he become friends with her at this point? She's knocked him out twice.
Yeah, that's true.
And Falzarin's already got Brendel and Shaft as buddies.
Opposites
Oh, yeah,
attract.
for
they're
sure.
And
right.
Izzy.
Best of
And Izzy.
best of
That's right.
poor Falzarin.
Falston already has the number one hulking brute of a woman in his life.
Yeah, that's true. Do you wanna read the question for you, Leland?
Oh, I have to read my own question and answer it?
That's right.
Seems like a lot
I'll read
more
it
work.
for you if you want me to.
Gotta pull your weight around here.
Go ahead, Emily.
Leland, last AP, you mentioned trying to make the craftsman into an NPC. Do you have any NPCs based on any other particular people? Where do you get your inspiration?
Yeah, well, I mean, Sardo is directly stolen from Are You Afraid of the Dark? There's a character named Sardo the Magician. He owns a magic shop. Straight up pulled. Yeah, I love making him a NPC. If you go look up close to him, I think I did him pretty good justice. Captain Grimby Chum is basically Quint from Jaws. It's kind of who I picture when I think of him.
I was thinking of a SpongeBob character, but continue.
So yeah, sometimes it's just like pop culture icons, right? A lot of people do that for like their characters too.
Yeah.
Base a character concept on a
Ooh.
a fictional character that they enjoy or admire. It's kind of what I do for some NPCs. It also helps developing the way they speak and their voice and that stuff too, right?
Because then you could just think of them and remember how to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
At Shaft, I wanted a mixture of Han Solo and Mad Max in a way. Mad Max being sort of the loner that wouldn't, get involved and sort of take care of us. And Shaft, or
So like
Han Solo
Mel
was the
Gibson,
Chewbacca
Mad Max?
kind of thing. Yeah, Mel
Yeah.
Gibson, old Mad Max, first movies kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was my original, and then it changed a bit from there. But the idea was, it's sort of a apocalyptic type of, I don't want to have anything to do with anybody, leave me alone
Yeah.
kind of guy. But it shifted from that a little bit.
Ooh. This is giving me ideas.
Yeah.
Ideas of how to annoy Bill, too. Come back as a bard, but I base it off Cardi B, and I just say, oh, all the time, and then he gets annoyed. Yeah.
I think we would have to take
Well-
a party vote on that one.
Okay.
How much? What you need to figure out your max damage
Yeah.
so
You
we can
could-
add those together.
You couldn't hear it, listener, but my face was in my palm as soon as she said that.
As it is every time I say, oh,
Is there anyone that you've any character from pop culture or otherwise that you drew on for Blake Lakely?
No, actually. More like, Blake Lively is like a spoiled little rich brat. Like a posh, like overprivileged, doesn't really know the true value of a dollar because he's never had to think about it in his whole fucking life kind of prick of a person. So it's not really a specific.
for any rich listeners out there,
fictional
we
character.
love you. Give us some money. Donate
Yeah.
to our
Well,
GoFundMe.
there's a difference between being well off and being Blake Lakely.
I'm just, yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, pricks.
Yeah. If any pricks want us start a Patreon for you,
I was gonna say, if we got rich listeners, hey, we got empty pockets.
gotta get Leland to meet the rest of the group.
Yeah, we need a studio halfway between that we all just fly into once a week to record.
Hey, that'd be
Like
nice.
Wyoming, Montana. Yeah, no.
So I think we pretty much hit on just about everything. Is there anything you guys want to bring up?
There's one last comment that I don't want to have get missed here, because I'm sure Elena will be happy for a reminder.
I feel like this is not going to make me happy.
Listeners, I think this was from Jess as well. She's very excited for when Elena finally DMs
Oh, jeez.
a one shot or an episode or something.
Coming November 1st.
Yeah, coming November 1st.
Coming sometime in 2000.
Well, I think we were briefly talking about Emily wanting to run her one shot as well, right?
Yeah.
You go ahead, please. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll do that
We can
sometime.
can we record your one shot?
Yeah. For just for learning DMs. I've done it. I sort of done it once. John and I co-DM'd. So I was thinking about just getting a module that John maybe doesn't know or doesn't remember as much, and just running it off that, because trying to do a homebrew would be, I think, too much and too overwhelming.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Oh, I got plenty of one-shot things you can look at. Even if I did read it, I don't remember.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. One you haven't read recently.
So before we end, you guys got anything that you've been listening to or any cool stuff that you wanted to bring up just for fun?
Oh, are we still doing that?
I know.
didn't have anything
I know you're
ready.
not doing it. I
forgot.
just enjoy doing something off topic.
Oh, I know what Bill has to talk about.
What you got, Bill?
Oh, it's just a video game I've been playing. It's not anything. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, but
What do you mean it's not anything?
What is it?
Bill
it
and
could
I
be.
are
the-
quite seriously obsessed with Borderlands 3.
Oh yeah.
We've been playing it on PlayStation. Came out last Friday.
yeah, it's stupid fun. I played the second one years and years and years ago, and it's basically a first-person shooter that's kind of cartoony and goofy. It's a lot of fun. It's been fun watching Elena.
It's the first time I've ever been able to play a first-person shooter.
Yeah, having a controller. She's used to, like
N64. Yeah.
So a controller with 2 joysticks that you have to use to aim around was a big learning curve.
Or the old PlayStation where it was D-pads and no joysticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've learned quickly.
Well, I've played a lot.
That's true.
Yeah, I think part of the after party is just finding out other stuff that all of us like to do. Just getting to know us as much as
so any
the
other
characters.
Borderlands players out there, chat with us. It'll be fun to tell us your secret little spots you found. And
I wouldn't say it's the best game I've ever played, but it's fun.
Oh, it's the best game I've ever played.
What got me really excited for it was the fact that it's like couch co-op. You can play split screen, which is rare in games nowadays. And you can also play, so Elena and I can play on the same console with friends online as well, which is also quite rare as far as I'm aware. So that's exciting. Although they need some kinks they need to work out of the split screen.
If you want to play with us, DM us your name on PlayStation Network.
You've been playing Through the Ages too, right?
Yes.
We were at game night last night, and somebody said, "Who's this Bladio guy?" And we sort of looked at each other like, "Well, we know who that is." And
he's taking forever to take his turn.
That's right.
Take his turn.
The latest they just released an expansion for it in the app, and it broke notifications, so it doesn't tell you when it's your turn anymore.
Ooh.
But listener and friend Ian has been DMing me with various little things.
Yeah, he said he was going to email you.
Yeah, he'll DM me and say, ding, when it's my turn.
That's funny.
Yeah.
How does he know? He must just check it a lot.
I guess.
How would he know?
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm playing with him and one other buddy.
Umberto, one of our other friends. Is he the one you're playing with?
Yeah, they generally are beating me pretty handily.
Is he a Leelander?
No.
What?
I'm not
What
sure
the fuck are you wasting your time playing games with him for?
I think we knew him before we knew you.
Night. It was pretty fun. I got
Castell
my
was a
ass
good
kicked.
game.
That was fun.
Sounds like me and Through the Ages.
So I've been watching this thing on YouTube. This lady from China called Liza Kui, maybe.
Spell
How do
it.
you
I don't
spell
know.
it?
Spell it.
Spell it for us.
Liziqi.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's just this. It's sort of like when I was talking about watching Craftsman, how calming it is. Well, she does all these things over in China. Puts all this food together. She goes out and shows you how to
Pick
harvest
the plants.
rice.
Yeah.
And then go and make all the food and all this. And it's about 10-minute episodes or so, but it's really cool. And she has 3 million views on something she released 3 days ago, kind of thing.
Oh wow.
And it's really sort of a peaceful thing. But I've found that I like to watch other people be very productive. I spend a lot of time going, wow, that was really productive, and now I'm going to spend some more time watching other people do things that are very productive. I don't do any of those myself, but I'm really proud of all of the other people that are doing great things in the world.
You're living vicariously through them.
That's right. But if I don't know, Liziqi, if you type that in and look at it, it's really nice to just sort of calm down and watch it and go, wow, that's a lot of work to do what you're doing there. It's really cool. And then another one I wanted to shout out was Answers with Joe. It's a guy named Joe Scott, and he does all kinds of science and technology stuff.
Entertaining, though.
Very, very entertaining. It's just him sort of talking to the screen, but he sort of dives into different subject matter, and he'll sort of break down things like the new car technology that's coming out, driverless vehicles, battery powered vehicles, and space things, and it could be all kinds of different stuff. And it's just a neat little. Once again, it's about a 10-minute episode. And
he had one about cryptozoology recently. That was very interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's some really neat stuff there. And then the only other thing is the new Tool album's out. If you're a Tool fan, 13 years waiting for Tool to come out with a new album, Fear Inoculum. So if you guys are, if anybody out there likes Tool, I'm sure they've already checked it out. We were going to try to go to the concert because Emily's a Tool fan too.
Yes, we know. She married you.
Well, yeah. Nice. Thanks, Leland.
I was just waiting
good.
somewhere to
I'm
slip
a fan
it in.
of John's Tool.
Yeah, you
Probably shouldn't say that.
you slipped the Tool right in there, Leland. Thanks. And yeah, what'd you say, Emily?
I'm not repeating it.
She's not repeating it.
I'll just say that I'm too cheap to pay the ticket price to go see Tool in November. Yeah, cheapest ticket prices were like $168 a pop at the worst seats, all the way up to like $700.
Concerts are how people make their money now. Like when you don't sell physical
I get
albums
it.
and you just stream all the time, you know?
Well, I haven't bought it. I just YouTube the album, but
Well, that's what I'm
exactly
saying.
her
Like
point.
that's not making them as much money as they used to make when album released. Anyway, that sounds like an episode of T Hut or something. So we'll save that for later.
yeah, if you want me to come on T Head again, talk about the new latest
Talk
metal
about your
albums,
Tool.
I'll be happy.
Talk about the price of concerts and how it's exponentially increased as streaming has increased and album sales have decreased, and statistics,
Look,
information.
Moby's interested in things I have to say. I know you aren't, but Moby is.
Yeah, well, Moby is a lot of different things, and not all of them good. So
Is he a Leelander?
I don't
would
think
say
he
no.
is.
Nope.
So what the fuck am I wasting my time with him for?
Emily, you been watching anything or doing anything? What are you
Work.
spending your time doing? Well, you're sewing some stuff up, right?
Yeah, got the McCall finished for Emma, and work.
Leland, anything you've been doing other than DMing and?
Well, not particularly. I did the first pass of the edit of our next episode with our guest.
Woo woo.
Yeah.
It's going to be another two-parter. So far, the first part turned out really well. That should drop next Monday.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be really good.
Should
That
we
was
let
a-
them
that
know
was
who
a
our
fun,
guest is?
play session.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a secret, right?
It is on the interwebs if you're good at looking for it.
Yeah, we took pictures of her and posted it, I think, so it's not a
Fine,
secret.
let's make them go to the internet to figure it out instead of just
Or
right
we
now
could
while
just
they're in
say,
the car
"It's
listening."
Adelaide.
Exactly. It's
Adelaide
Adelaide.
joined us. She was quite lovely. I
had
enjoyed playing with Adelaide. Oh, Adelaide.
I think she did a great.
Adelaide.
I got
Cat's
to
out of the
have
bag.
to bleep all of that out, Emily.
Adelaide.
Yeah, if we're going to bleep her name, let's go for it.
No, that was certainly fun playing with her, absolutely. Other than that, I've sporadically been going to the gym. I had a really shitty deadlift day the other day. They were pretty weak sauce deadlifts.
Literally or figuratively?
Not literally, no. They were just not the usual weight that I can throw around. No, I don't have any fear of shitting myself doing deadlifts. It's usually just the squats, right?
Yeah.
Anything leg related, it's like basically a full body exercise that it feels like. It's the worst.
Deadlifts are a full body exercise.
Yeah, I know, but actually squats are really hard right now because my wrist is fucked up. I have like a ganglion, I think, on the top of it, and I can't get my.
Just lance it, you know?
I know. I need to I
just-
need a rapier. I'll get my rapier. Bryn, can you? But I can't get
Doesn't
my.
flash.
I can't get my my hand into the proper position because the flexion on my wrist is hindered because of it, and then it throws off my left shoulder, and then it throws off my left hip, and then it fucking works all the way down, and it's just brutal.
I feel you.
Tell
I
me
had the
about it.
same problem.
Definitely. With all the squats I'm not doing, I totally relate.
I almost shit myself every time I stand up.
I managed to hurt myself just walking around, so.
That is so true. Emily is fragile.
Although
say
you
the
did
least.
just do about a 5-mile walk on Friday with our scavenger hunt we did down in Cincinnati.
So hot.
You pulled
And you
through.
didn't
You pulled through okay.
break something.
How's the
something?
ankle
It
hanging,
actually-
holding up through that?
That's fine. It barely ached. As long as I don't twist it to the side, I'm fine. So
As long as I don't move. It's
exactly. As long as I don't move, I'm fine. Well, no, that's not true either.
I think I might put that at the end of this episode after the after the outro.
Yeah, there's a lot here you can cut out.
I was just
there's a lot.
thinking the same thing. Should we
There always is.
should we get the fuck out of here or what?
Yeah, I think everybody's got plenty of extra shit that they
do
didn't
we all
expect.
need to know about Leland's ganglions? Other locations?
Yeah, I was starting to get
Are
pretty
we
uncomfortable
sufficiently
there.
educated on each other's
Look,
lives, listeners?
We're not getting a whole hell of a lot of questions about the show, but I imagine we'll get all kinds of questions about this other shit.
Oh, man.
All right, I think time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So I'll start out if everybody knows their place, right? All
Oh, of course.
Totally.
right. I've been Shaft and John.
I'm Emily and Gozer.
I'm Bill and Falzarin.
I'm Elena.
And I'm Leland Steele.
Hey, we did it.
Happy adventuring. And that's our show. Our intro and outro music was created by Josh Jarvis. For your own musical inquiries, contact jamesmercymusic@gmail.com. All other music and ambient noise is courtesy of tabletopaudio.com. The Incorrigible Party is sponsored by Critical Hit Design. Visit criticalhitdesign.com for all of your graphic design needs. You can find more info on the characters and world at incorrigibleparty.com. Enjoying the show? Have any questions or rules corrections? Email us. contact@incorrigibleparty.com or reach out on social media. The Incorrigible Party on Facebook and Instagram, @IncorrigiblePar on Twitter, using the hashtag AfterPartyIP for a shout out during our behind the screen after party episodes that drop every 4th release. Happy adventuring!
Oh, gosh. This is the time he chooses to dig in his crate. Fitz! Stop.
John, we should get some dogs too.
Yeah, that's exactly what the podcast needs. More fucking dogs.